as an Airbnb social media manager, I see the other side too because all of these people pitch, and I'm just like, I can tell you exactly what's wrong with your pitch and why I'm not going to pay you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Pay to Travel podcast. So excited to be here today. Grab your iced coffee. You can hear mine, or go on your hot girl walk, whatever you do to listen to your podcasts. And today's a little bit longer of an episode than I think I typically do. This will probably be like a 45-minute interview, but it is packed with good info. I talked with my friend Emma, who is an Airbnb content creator and social media manager, and I just think you're going to learn genuinely so much in this interview about how to get started with Airbnb content creation, what packages look like when working with Airbnbs, and just like a legit roadmap on how to get started. Emma does this full time now, and she knows her shit. And I just think you guys are going to learn so much in this. So, Emma, it's so good to have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I know I mentioned this earlier, but when you texted me, I was like, oh, stop. Me? Are you sure? So I'm really happy to be here, and I hope that I can help a lot of people out today.
Yes.
So, hi, I'm Emma, and right now I am currently full-time doing my own business. Me a year ago, shocked. So, and I'm doing Airbnb, like short-term rental, photography, content creation, and social media management, specifically for short-term rentals as well.
So, how long have you been doing that now?
Not even a year.
Crazy.
So I guess officially, not even a year. I started dabbling in this world about 2 years ago. And then last July, so it's coming up in just a couple of days, will be my 1 year of launching my LLC.
So exciting. And
Crazy.
how did you initially get into content creation? Did you like start out content creation for Airbnbs, or was it kind of a journey to get there? Like, what did that look like?
I've always been more interested in Instagram, and like I've always put in more effort into how my Instagram looks, even throughout high school. Like just photography and doing photo shoots with my friends has kind of always been in the background. I would do like senior portraits and like that sort of thing. And then a lot of my friends were photographers too. So this was kind of the thing I just did for fun. In high school, I don't shoot people anymore versus only a lifestyle, like photography at Airbnbs, but I do not do that anymore, thank God. And so, but this all kind of started when 2 years ago, I was planning on doing a summer solo in Europe while my boyfriend was studying abroad in New Zealand. And my boyfriend challenged me to try to come up with a way to save or make money traveling through my social media.
Mhm.
And I was like, what am I supposed to how am I supposed to do this? Like, okay, it'd be cool to like work with tourism boards, no idea how to start doing that, especially when they speak a different language. What am
Yeah.
I doing? And luckily, I had also talked to my dad about it, and he suggested I do some sort of photography thing with short-term rentals. It's kind of both my boyfriend and my dad kind of planted the seed of like, "Oh, yeah, I could combine my social media skills that I've built up over years just for fun and the photography background that I have and build like a dream business of doing something that I love." And luckily, my family has an Airbnb in the south of France that I practiced on. And we know someone else down there that has an amazing like manor that
Love that.
they like a little boutique hotel situation. So I just popped over, took some photos. I hate them now, obviously. And so I just took a couple photos of our place there and a couple photos of our friend's place, threw them into a media kit, which now I don't even use, but threw them into a media kit, and I had changed my mind by then of doing my solo Europe trip which would have been fantastic. I am still wanting to go to all of those places I was planning on doing. I missed my boyfriend too much, shocker, and flew back to New Zealand after about a month and a half away from New Zealand. I went right back.
You're like, "I'm a
Oh,
lover girl, I can't do this."
yeah. Like, I will not be able to survive this summer. I'll come back and go to these places with him or something. So, I flew back to New Zealand, and that's when I started to really pitch places, and initially, it was just, "Here's my media kit, here's my Instagram." Like, they could see, like, sure, my Instagram was a little curated, but, like, nothing about short-term rentals. It was kinda
Yeah.
just, like, travel and
And,
my
like,
life.
you weren't an influencer, like, it wasn't like you had 20,000
No,
followers. No.
no, I had, I think,
Yeah.
3,000 at the time. So, it was really just like, "Please give me a chance." Like, I just wanna come for a night, like, full on exchange, like, "Hey, can I just come out for, like, 1 night?" Most of the time, they honestly were like, we're just gonna give you 2."
Yeah.
And pretty sure my deliverables were, like, a real 10 to 15 camera photos kinda situation, and I was just like, "Take a chance on me, kinda please." And that went really well,
I
and a
feel like
lot
I
of
remember this, like, I remember some of the first Airbnbs you did, and it was in New Zealand, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember, like, these really cool Airbnbs where you had this, like, beautiful hot tub with a view, and I remember seeing these and being like, "Oh my god, like, is she a full-on influencer? Like, these are so cool." Like, you were just taking such cool content, and literally, I was like, "Oh my god, how is she doing this?"
yeah.
I love it.
A lot of people were like, "What? How are you doing this? These places are so expensive, I'm not an influencer, not that thing." And I think I'll give the credit to my mom. I feel like she's a designer, and she just has a good eye, and I'd like to think that she's passed a little bit of that down to me. So I feel like after my first day, I feel like my first day went really badly, and we didn't clearly not know what we were doing, and yeah, it's kind of one of my only stays that I felt like was, like, super bad, and, like, they weren't happy with the photos either. But if it happens, it was our first day, and my boyfriend was like, They're not paying us. It's literally, like, our first one. What do you
Right.
expect?" I feel like after that, it went really well. It started going really well, and I was like, "Okay, I'm figuring this out pretty quickly."
Yeah. I mean, being a
So
beginner at anything is hard
right.
because it just feels defeating. It feels like I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm doing.
Yep.
No matter
I s
what you're doing, it's like, "Oh, yeah, my first few kinda sucked."
Yeah. And I felt bad, and I actually have since, like, reached out and apologized, even though it, like, wasn't that big of a deal. I'm like, "If I'm ever back, like, I'll come and shoot it for free just
Yeah,
because, like, it's a cool," I feel
that's
bad.
so nice of you.
Like
So, how did you get those first few Airbnb clients? Were you reaching out, like, to them on Instagram, or how did you find them?
mostly email.
Okay.
So, I was finding places on Instagram, following them, maybe interacting a little bit with their account, but trying to find their website and email them. I just felt like that was more professional than DMing them. I've heard mixed things from hosts. Some hosts like the Instagram because then they get to see their profile and it's a real person versus like an email where you can't necessarily place the face to the name. But then others are like, well, email is way more professional. And I really like that they put in the effort to find the email, yada, yada. So
Yeah.
I think it just depends. But yeah, I was mostly just like finding their websites, looking for an email, emailing them. I emailed a ton of people before I got my first yes, and I actually have a video of, like, my live reaction of getting my
Aw.
first, like, exchange. So, anyways, yeah, super cute looking back on
Ugh.
it now. But, yeah, so we just practiced at all these really, really cool spots all over New Zealand, and, yeah, the cool hot tub with the view is definitely a staple. I actually made a carousel that was, like, all of my favorite hot tubs, and it was just, like, hot tub video pictures all over New Zealand, yeah.
I
So,
love that.
love those. But,
Oh.
yeah, so I did exchanges until I felt like my portfolio was good enough,
Mhm.
and then my media kit that I had made, which was initially based around my Instagram, which now I'm like, I don't that I think I just needed the placeholder because I didn't really
Yeah.
have a photo experience, so I was like, "Well, this is what everyone says to do. I'm just gonna send a media kit." It kind of transitioned into, like, a PDF of my portfolio,
Mhm.
and then now I have a website and everything, so I just send them my portfolio page, but so it's a little bit different. But, yeah, so I did exchanges until I felt like that was good enough, which
Mhm.
now that I'm looking back, I feel like I should have started charging earlier.
Yeah.
Think I was just my own worst critic, and I
I think
wasn't.
that's a universal experience of
Yeah,
creatives.
yeah, for sure. So, looking back, I'm like, "These photos were good, what? I'm fine." I think I was just like, "Eh," like, "It's fun, and I wanna build it to be super, super, super good."
Yeah. Would you say that it's possible for people who don't have photography experience or have a professional camera to get into a similar line of work with, like, iPhone photos and videos?
Yes, I do see that, and it is possible, especially when you're framing it as more of a UGC
Mhm.
situation versus where like me, I'm like, "Hey, I'm a professional photographer."
Right.
You can definitely get into this space. I would say it is way easier to get into the space when you do have that equipment.
That makes sense, especially for Airbnbs, hotels, because
Mhm.
they can use those images on their listings and not just like social media. Whereas I feel like a lot of UGC content, it's lower quality. It's kind of more like lifestyle, and not that the photography isn't lifestyle, but it's kind of a different kind of content. And they're not necessarily going to be using the, iPhone photos on their listings or their websites so
Mhm.
much as they would professional photography. So I definitely do see a differentiation there. And think that's kind of my take as well, is like you can totally do UGC for these types of places, especially if you like have a good eye for the spaces, and if you know how to create great reels, like that's great
Yeah.
for stays. But I think there for sure is a difference between like the professional photography and iPhone stuff for sure.
It'll be easier to get paid,
Yeah.
just straight up. Like, even if you're shooting your photos on camera and shooting your video on iPhone, I still think it's way easier to get paid because you have that element of, like, more upscale versus where I think UGC stuff can tend to be a little bit more casual.
Mhm.
I mean, user-generated content, that's the point, though.
Right.
It's supposed to look like a guest point of view versus, like, a professional outlook, so
Yeah, 100%. Do you work with hotels too? Have you worked with hotels at all?
I do work with hotels, however, it is a lot less or a lot more sparse. I
Okay.
don't really like to work with hotels as much because they have way more people reaching out to them, and it's a little harder to stand out, and most of the time, they will expect you to work for free.
Yeah.
So it's just not my preference, really. Like, I've
Okay.
worked with some fantastic boutique hotels, I think that is more the way to go versus, like, a big chain that's, like, owned by Marriott, you know? That's just my
Yeah.
personal preference, and I feel like talking one-on-one with Airbnb and short-term rental hosts goes a lot better.
Do you know how many Airbnbs you've worked with while you've been doing this?
So last year, I remember I worked with 18 because I did a little recap. The year
That's
before
amazing.
that, I probably did about the same. This year already, I've worked with definitely more than that in the first half
Dang.
of the year. I would say it's pushing, like, probably 25, 30.
Wow. Oh my god, that's actually so incredible.
It's kinda crazy.
Yeah, that's so crazy. So, okay, so when I met Emma in person, it was because she was actually staying at a cabin near Denver, and she was shooting content for their Instagram. So tell me a little bit about that relationship, because it's not like you're just shooting content, you're also doing social media management. So like what does that look like kind of as a workflow and like partnership with them?
Totally. So, for my social media management clients, more often than not, they will hire me for photos and slash content as well. And when that happens, I give them a discount. I give them just a 10% discount on my normal packages. But what I do add on to them that I wouldn't add on to a normal client is I'm taking so much B-roll video
Mhm.
because it makes my job easier. So when we're talking, I'm like, "Okay, it's in my normal package, but just keep in mind, like, I'm gonna be shooting a ton of B-roll video that you will have access to, and that's just because you're my social media management client."
Mhm.
And I have also converted photography and content clients into social media management clients as well.
Mhm.
So and you were actually there for one of those because I had a call with Taylor at the A-frame
Yeah.
that we were at, and she was talking about, and this is how a lot of hosts feel, but they're just like, "I know social media is important, but I'm so busy, and I
Yeah.
also don't know the algorithm and the trends and yada yada." So she was just talking about how social media is just a lot for her, and I was just like very casually, "There is a reason I am also an Airbnb social media manager because I hear this a lot from hosts." And she was like, "Wait, let's talk about this actually." And now she's been one of my clients
Let's
since.
go.
Like,
That's
great. So
amazing.
yeah. So it often goes hand in hand too, and I think doing the social media management kind of makes it easier for me to get content and photography clients and vice versa. So they
Yeah.
really go well hand in hand. Just
Yeah, I that's actually something I did in the beginning when I was starting UGC too, is I would pair UGC with social media management. And I think they just pair so well together because you know the brand really well, right? It's like you know their products, you can shoot a ton of content and it makes the brand's life easier. And so it's like, hey, let me do, 10, 20 videos a month for you and I'll post them and I'll respond to comments and stuff like that. And so it really is just like this really cool relationship. And then they don't have to hire someone full time in house to be a social media manager. So I think that's a really cool way to leverage UGC and social media management. And also, that just means you can create like bigger packages and have retainer clients. And
totally.
that's such a big thing with content creation is like if you can have consistent month after month clients that you work with, that is a game changer.
That's how I'm full time,
Yeah.
is those monthly retainer clients because I know that I have X amount of income per month, whereas shoots can kind of vary a little bit depending on, like, let's say I'm super busy or like the last 4 weeks I've like really packed them in. So it kind of just very fluctuates a little bit.
Mhm.
But every month I got those monthly retainers. So that is definitely the key, in my opinion, to going full time,
Yeah.
which I went full
Um,
time just like 3 months ago.
really?
Like very recently, like April.
What were you doing before that? Like,
I was doing this on the side, but I also had freelance jobs. So
okay.
I was doing freelance social media marketing and consulting for a company.
Okay.
And then I had a little Barbie job where I was doing social media management and working just as a normal boutique. I don't even know what that is called when you work in the boutique. I'm like the boutique person. Anyway, I worked at a cute clothing boutique in
Okay.
Fort Collins, and that was like my Barbie job to get me out of the house, and it was super fun and easy. But
Okay.
I also was their social media manager, so helped me get
Love
paid
that.
more. But yeah, and I worked at coffee shops and just like that sort of thing. So I've had multiple jobs at a time for a good chunk of my
Mhm.
adult life.
Yeah.
No longer.
I know, no longer.
Yay. I don't have that many retainer clients,
Okay.
and I'm still able to go full time. So for people that are listening, like, it's not like I have just 10 social media management clients and I'm just raking in like all the dough every month. Anyway, I have 4.
Mhm.
So and that still does the job.
Right.
Granted, it is because one of them is an Airbnb management company. So I told them that my prices were double,
Hell yeah. As you
and
should.
they said yes. So they bring in more money than kind of all my other clients combined. So I
Yeah.
will say that. but still, it's not that many clients, like, I just had to get 4,
Mhm.
and I would be fine on that alone, even if I didn't do any shoots.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
And you're still doing a shit ton of shoots. Like
No, especially lately, I have been on the grind. It's been fun, but
That's
like I said,
amazing.
I need a break.
Yeah, you're
It's
like,
time.
Give me a week off, honey."
Yeah, for sure. So, I don't have another client as of right now for, like, another week and a half, so
Nice.
yay! Which is, like, it's crazy to that point where that's, like, a good thing that I have a
Right,
because for a good chunk of time, I've been stressed out because I don't have another client on the calendar.
right. Well, and let this be anyone's sign who's like, "The industry's too saturated, there's not enough places out there that need content," or whatever. That's not fucking true. Like, there are, you just need to know, like, how to pitch and how to price yourself and how to, like, package it, and if you can explain your worth, there are plenty out there that will pay you.
Yes. Yes,
There's
definitely.
not a shortage. How would you say, like, if you were to talk to somebody who is either just starting out or like they've worked with some places but just as a free stay, how can they get into a mindset of like knowing their worth and charging their worth
Mhm.
and getting paid as a content creator versus just getting free stays? Because I think this is like a
Mhm.
big discussion in the industry, free stays versus getting paid to do what you're doing, and yeah, I'm just kind of curious your take on this topic.
So when I was transitioning from exchanges to getting paid, I just started out with, like, 200 bucks. I was like, "I'm just gonna do the same thing as I would do for an exchange, but I'm gonna charge, like, 200 bucks." And then I did 2 or 3 stays for 200 bucks, and then I was like, "Okay, it's time to rack it up," and I did a big jump. I went from 200 to, like, 450, and I
Nice.
just, like, charged to stay 450 just to see what would happen, and they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, okay. I can do this." So,
Sometimes it just takes that first yes for you to be like, "Okay, so this isn't crazy and I can actually charge more than this."
totally. And now, like, my lowest package is 600 bucks. So, it's just kind of and for less work than what that was. So
Yeah,
it just kind of took time, and I think charging a little bit and then moving up helped me build my confidence in knowing kind of what I was worth, and also the confidence that I could get people to pay me because I there
right.
was definitely a point where I was like, "I know my stuff is good, so can you, like, pay for it?"
Yeah.
So, and I think starting a little bit and kinda moving up from there and just slowly upping the price of my packages really helped with that.
Mhm.
And then now when I pitch places, I have a professional website to back me up, or I have a giant portfolio that everyone can see on there. I have stats for my social media management. I have an Instagram that's full of real examples and my photo examples that they can see like, "Oh, okay." So I think having stuff like that to back you up when you are able to, that's great. I'm not saying your Instagram has to be all about it, but, like, at least a little website little portfolio that you can link that people are like, "Okay, this is, like, the quality of work." It also shows that you care enough to put in the time and effort to create a little presentation, if you will,
Right.
versus just, like, a copy and paste DM. And as an Airbnb social media manager, I see the other side too because I'm in their
Mhm.
Instagram watching all of these people pitch, and I'm just like, "I can tell you exactly what's wrong with your pitch and why I'm not gonna pay you," or, like,
Yeah.
vouch for my boss to pay you.
Right. Okay, what's the tea on that? Like,
So
what would be something that you would get that you'd be like, "Yeah, this is a bad pitch compared to a good pitch."
they'll be like, "Hi, blank name of this day," and it's like a very clear copy and paste DM, and they changed like, "Hi." Let's see, for example, one of my clients, my big fat client, is called Tree Line Rentals. They'd be like, "Hi, Tree Line Rentals. My name is blah 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 blah. Like, let's work together." And I'm just like, you put no effort into this pitch.
Yeah.
It's not like so, for example, when I started doing my exchanges, what I would do is I would scour their website, go to their about page, try to find their name. That's a big thing because
Mm.
one of my clients, they literally have a pinned post on their profile of their names, who they are, and people will still DM like, "Hi, blank name of the stay." And it's like, if you looked for 2 seconds, you could find their name.
Yeah.
And so I think that makes a really big difference because it's like person to person. So then I'm like, "Hey, Amy," like, and then maybe I'll try to find something that if let's say I'm reading their about page and we have something in common or something they talk about an experience that they had that was really cool. I will talk about that in my pitch. Like, "I'm a real person. I care. Like, I am paying attention to what you're putting out there. I'm not just trying to take your money.
Mhm.
I'm trying to help you and
Yeah.
connect with you." I think that really helps. Even if you had a copy and paste DM, but you still found their name, I think it would still be a lot better. So
That's so
that's a big
interesting.
deal. Yeah, and I think it is definitely worth the effort to, like, scour the internet and try to find their name or anything about them, and that's really easy because if they have an Airbnb listing, it's, like, "Hosted by Andrew," and then you can
Yeah.
say, "Hi, Andrew." Like, super easy.
I love that. There's a quote, and I don't know, I'm gonna butcher it, but it's something like 5 minutes of prep can save you 50 minutes of post. And it's basically just like the idea that when you intentionally prepare for something, it will pay off tenfold in like your conversion rates of like responses to your DMs, actually getting clients, etc. And I've had this conversation a lot, and I continue to have this conversation with my students where you can kind of view it two different ways. It's like either it's just a numbers game, and so you send out a bunch of templated pitch because you want to get out as many pitches as possible, or you're going the other route where you're doing a lot less pitching, but you're like doing a lot of really intentional research about that brand, that stay, and you're, yeah, like kind of giving specific details about that place, how you relate to them, like things like their name. And there's ways that there's different ways that you can pitch, right? It's like, okay, is it volume or is it intentionality? And I don't necessarily think there's a wrong answer. I think you're going to see results kind of either way that you do it, if you like do enough of the volume.
Mhm.
But I think there's so much to be said about when you are intentional with your pitches, when you put in the research, when you get to know a brand, a stay, whatever it is, and that shows in your pitch, that relationship right off the bat is immediately like so much more personal and stronger, I think, than a general pitch. And you're going to have to do less pitching because like your pitch is just better. And so I like that take because I think it's so true, and it's interesting to hear it from your perspective as someone who is like actually seeing these DMs and like maybe recommending creators to these places.
Right, and, like, if someone's work let's say I'm on the social media management side. If someone's work is good enough, I love their stuff, I won't really care as much that their message
Mhm.
is copy and paste. I'll still hire them. I'll still vouch for my boss to pay them and hire them. I just think it helps, and it's a little thing that goes a long way. Like, I immediately off the bat with their name, if I can find it. Sometimes I really can't find it, and it's really annoying, but and then I will compliment something specific about their stay. Like, I'm not just gonna be like, "Your stay is incredible." Okay, that could apply to anyone. I'm like, "I love the green touches in your kitchen, and I love the Edison lights, and, like, you did an amazing job on that deck." Like, you know what I mean?
Love
Like,
that.
something
Yeah.
like that. Like, I won't be fake, but I'm usually not pitching places that I think are ugly, so it's really
Right.
for me to come up with something that I really like that's specific to them, and I think that's another thing of, like, the personality, and this is a very specific pitch to them. I do have a little copy and paste thing that I do use, and it's just like my intro. Like, so I'm not saying don't copy and paste at all, but as far as like that sort of stuff, I think it's definitely really
Yeah.
good to make that personal. And in
Totally.
a market like it is now, where places are that are big on social media are getting like DMs every single day, that'll make you stand out.
Yeah. Okay, I have one kind of technical question and then a fun one. But technical question for anyone who might be listening and they are maybe interested in the photography side of things, what camera do you have and like what camera do you recommend?
I have the Sony A7 III,
Okay.
but I started shooting out with the Nikon Z6, which I also really liked. So I'm
Okay.
not really like a diehard to a certain brand. I do love my Sony A7 III. I've loved it more than some Canons I've used, but the Nikon Z6 was also a great one to start out with, and I believe that it's cheaper.
Okay. Beautiful.
So I think the camera doesn't matter as much. I really don't. It is all about your internal settings that you play with, and I mean, yes, the lens mattered, but, like, not even that much. Like,
Yeah.
I used a kit lens forever. It works.
Yeah.
So, right now I mostly use a 24 to 70 millimeter lens,
Love that.
and then I use a wide angle when I need to, but I most of the time, I'm using that 24 to 70.
If you've enjoyed this video and want to continue learning about UGC, hit the follow button so you never miss a new episode. And while you're at it, give this video a thumbs up because the more you let YouTube know that you like my content, the more of my content it will give you. And the more I'll be able to reach new people and help them with their UGC journeys too. Huge, genuine thank you, and let's get back to the episode. And then what has been your favorite stay that you have ever worked with?
My favorite stay was actually an exchange, full disclosure, but it was because it was in New Zealand, so it was one of my very first days, but it still is my favorite. It's called Fallow Ridge Retreat, and they just knocked it out of the park. Like, every single detail was so thoughtfully curated, their branding is on point, they really put in so much effort into the experience. Like, the actual place is really small, but they've turned it into this bucket list stay with their views, their amenities, their design. Huge part is their design. They put in so much effort into it, and they really made it a unique stay. Like, it's this little cabin, and it looks like it's just, like, in the mountain. And the top of it, they have their roof has, like, grass from,
Oh,
like, the mountain going onto it, so from above, it looks like it's just in the ground. It's
so
really cool
cool.
and definitely worth a look up, and
Oh,
I'm kicking myself kind of now because they actually reached out to me semi recently, and they were like, "When are you gonna be back? Like, what are your rates?" So, like, I coulda charged the first time.
yeah, for sure.
But it was one of my first days, so I
Yeah.
didn't know. But so I'm still totally fine saying they're one of my favorite stays, even though it was an exchange because they do pay. They do
Yeah.
pay photographers in New Zealand, and then they would pay me too if I came back, if slash when. I'd like to say when I come back. And then my favorite place to work with that wasn't just for the place, like my client, is probably that Tree Line Rentals that I mentioned because, like, yes, they are a big social media management client, but they hire me a lot for photography, which is great. So they give me a lot of money, and I love that, of course, but they are so kind, and they never question my value and my prices, anything like that. If
Yeah.
anything, they think that my prices are really good. And even though sometimes I've sent a gallery and I feel like a lot of creatives and photographers are like this too, but they'll send off a gallery and they'll be like, "Ugh," like, I don't know if that it's shitty. It's like that was like a bad gallery, and then the client comes back and they're like, "I love it. Like, it looks so good." So I think we all kind of have those intrusive thoughts, but they're always like, "We're obsessed with your photos. Like, let's get you on the calendar again for another one."
That's the best kinda client. If
Around.
you feel comfortable sharing, would you be down to give an example of, like, what a package looks like that you
Yes.
would send off to a stay?
Sure thing. So I am pretty transparent with my pricing and my packages on my website.
Okay.
And so, for example, my lowest package right now is 10 camera photos, 5 drone photos, 5 B-roll clips. That used to be one reel, but I'm transitioning into more B-roll clips. I like that better. And it starts at $600. And I have, like, 4 main packages that people can choose from, but I also do I do custom ones and that sort of thing, but I like to kind of have, like, a jumping off point.
Mhm.
The highest one that I have on my website now is 40 camera photos, 10 drone photos, 20 B-roll clips, 2 reels, and that's priced at 2,300.
Love that.
So there's a big range. That's not as often, most of the time I have my middle packages get booked, which are like 15 camera photos, 5 drone photos, clips, reel to like 20. It's like 20 to 25 photos ish, I would say are like my most common packages.
Yeah.
And I think people really like that I have that range, right? It's not just photos or not just drone or just B-roll clips or just a reel. I kinda have, like, a little well-rounded package, and I have a lot of clients say that they, like, love that I have a drone and offer that and that sort of thing. So I think that helps me stand out too.
Yeah. Does the amount of content that you're shooting for them kind of change how long of a stay you need to be there?
Not really. I mostly do 2 to 3 nights for all my stays no matter what,
That's impressive.
because I only will do a one-night stay if it's, like, the one-night stay or not getting paid. Like, they just have that one night available and they wanna get me in, so it's either, like, I do that or not get paid. I will do
Right.
the one-night stay because that has happened before, and it's not my favorite, just because I feel like my work is better when I have that day in between and
Mhm.
full range of lighting to shoot, and then it also gives me extra time to, like, actually enjoy where I am and
Mhm.
not just, like, check in at 4, hurry and shoot before the sun goes down, wake up super early so I can check out at, like, 10 or 11. Like, I will not do that really
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
And on my website, I'll say, "I need 2 to 3 nights."
Yeah, that makes sense. So if you are working with a stay and you want to bring your partner or your friends, like, are places typically cool with that?
Yes,
Yeah.
always.
Yep.
So and most of the time I mean, a lot of my stuff is lifestyle too. So sometimes I will double check with them. I'm like, "Do you" if I have an option, I'll be like, "Do you prefer, like, couples content or, like, group content or anything like that?" Let's say my boyfriend can't come with me, and then I'll be like, "Okay, would you prefer, like, friends or, like, family?" Or something like that. Most of the time, we don't even talk about it, and I'll just bring my boyfriend when he can come, or, like, I'll just bring a friend, like, if my boyfriend can't come, and I we won't really talk about it beforehand. So, I would
Yeah.
say, yeah, it's totally fine. Like, and on the social media management side, like, I've worked with some creators on the back end, and they're like, "Just to be fully transparent, like, I do bring my husband and my dog or whatever," and I'm like, "I don't give a shit." Like, bring whoever the fuck you
Yeah,
want.
literally.
Like, like, as long as you're doing your job, like, I don't care.
That
I
makes
mean,
sense.
and that's from that side, because I'm
Yeah.
kind of on both, and I'm sure that perspective partially comes from what I do on the other
Yeah.
end, but I've never come across someone that's, like, picky about who I
Yeah.
bring or not.
Yeah.
They're just
I've
like,
had
"Don't
that
throw a
experience
party,"
too.
you know? I'm
Yeah, yeah. Don't
and I
trash the place.
yeah, I haven't even had someone, like, specifically mention that. It's just
No.
like, I think they expect that, but yeah. So bring whoever you want, guys.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, I would love to kinda send people away with a maybe practical, like, if you could give them 3 tips or maybe, like, step 1, step 2, step 3 in terms of if they are interested in working with Airbnbs and hotels, what are the first couple steps that they need to take in order to, like, make that a reality?
Yeah. I would say work to try to have something to show at the very beginning. Let's say you like have nothing, right? So try to come along with a friend to one of their stays or something like that if you have another friend that's doing the same thing. Or try to see if you have some sort of connection, or even if you have someone with a cute house, like just shoot some stuff in their house. Like just have like something, even if it's not that much to show for it, and just wait for someone to take a chance on you for an exchange, and then just shoot a bunch and you will build your portfolio that way. Just do a couple. Like, I probably did 15
Wow.
stays exchange. Part of that was I was in the Cook Islands for 3 weeks, and I didn't wanna pay for a place to stay the entire time I was there. So I at that point, I was like, "I can charge, but I'm asking these places for, like, 5 nights
Mhm.
as an exchange." And so for me, that was worth it because of the amount of time equals to the amount of work, and I was in the Cook Islands. So,
Yeah.
I did a couple more stays extra, so that's kind of where that 15 number comes from. I probably before that, it was like 10. So, I would just say, like, do, like, 5. Do
Yeah.
just, like, a couple, and you will have enough of a portfolio to get paid stays. Start from little. Like I said, I started from like 200 bucks. Start wherever you feel comfortable charging and then just build up from there. Like I recently, on the back end of one of my social media management clients, she had someone out for an exchange. I literally DM'd her personally and I was like, "Hey, your work is so good, charge."
I love that.
Like I'm shocked that you're not charging. So, yeah, she was like, "I just feel like my work's not good enough." Like, "That's
Mm,
really good to know." I'm like, "No, trust me, it's good enough."
yeah.
So just do a couple stays and just kind of build up from there. And pretty soon you will have a ginormous portfolio of these stays and you'll just kind of build from there. And then when you're pitching, kind of like I said, do some research. It won't take you like that long. Try to find a website or at least a listing to get their name, compliment them personally. There you go. That's that's the secret. And just like talk to them like a real person. I think it's easy to be like, "Hey, ChatGPT, what should I say? Make this pitch for me." Like, sure, I guess you can use that for like ideas, but talk to them how you would talk personally. Let your personality come through in your pitches because that will help you stand out in a sea of emails that just look like robots.
Mhm. Incredible. And I will say, I think people think it's harder than it is to get free stays. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that hard to get a free stay.
Nope.
I remember when I just first started UGC, like Airbnb, I reached out to a few Airbnbs and campsites, and those were some of my first UGC clients in general. And it was not that hard to get a free stay.
Nope. And if you are looking for free stays at the beginning, right, you're just looking to practice, hotels are the way to go
Yeah.
because hotels just give out free stays like that.
Mhm.
They have a lot harder time paying, but they will just give them out.
Yeah.
So, that's what I would do probably, practice
And and if you're
hotels.
listening to this, yeah, okay. If you're listening to this and you're like, I want to do Airbnb content or I want to build my portfolio, but I feel like it's going to take me forever because I don't have a ton of time to travel, you can look near where you live. Like, look near where you are because I think there's this misconception that it's just, when you work for Airbnbs or hotels, it's like travel stuff. So you're traveling to a place to go do it, but you can do it in your city, in your town, in your state, and you don't have to travel far. Trust me, there's a lot of opportunity right where you live.
Absolutely, and I honestly think that's better to a
Yeah.
degree because people love working with local businesses, people that and let's say you do have some sort of audience, like, people love working with like, then your audience will be local. So, there's a lot of reasons to work with local creators and photographers, and I would say to a degree it's often preferred. So, yeah, right where you live, like, in your town, there is a hotel. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Any piece of advice or kind of inspiration you'd give to someone who is wanting to maybe start travel or Airbnb content?
be authentic and don't just hop on trends when you're making reels.
Mm.
Like, storytelling is huge. Like, tell a story with your content. Like, showcase a day in the life, whether that's through reels, B-roll, or photography. Like, showcase the real what it's like to stay there and have your personality come through in your content, and I think that will help, not just, like, send this to someone you wanna go to a cabin with, like, if I see one more of those videos, I'm gonna crash out. So, like I would say for specifically that content, like, don't overthink it, Like, just kind of, like, tell a story what it's like from your unique perspective, and I think that will go a long way. And
Yeah.
don't just, like, try to copy other people's content, like, inspiration is great, sure, but, like, they're working with you for a reason. You have your own unique eye, and you will also build that as you build your portfolio. So just, like, do your own thing, and
Yeah.
it's good enough.
No, I love that. Where can people find you if they want to connect online, check out your portfolio, your website, etc.?
My website is elevatedescapesmgmt, like management.com, and there's a lot of information on there that I think would be really helpful, and you can see my giant portfolio, and I think you can scour it. And then I just recently made an Instagram for my elevated escapes management that's linked in the bio of my main Instagram, which is Eiffel Emma, Eiffel Emma, like the Eiffel Tower. I've had that username since I was like 12. Don't judge me. I don't want to change it. So those are the main places they can find me, and
Beautiful.
on my Elevated Escapes Management Instagram that I just barely started, I literally have 2 posts. I'm gonna be posting a lot of, like, behind the scenes tips and that sort of thing.
Beautiful. Okay, yeah, I will link all of those below for you guys. So if you want to go check out her work and follow her, I will link all of the socials and website below so you can go look at those. I am obsessed with this episode. I'm obsessed with this interview. I think people are actually going to find this so helpful. And thank you so much, Emma,
Of
for being on the
course, and
podcast.
if people are listening and they just need a more specific question, like, DM me. It's okay. Like, you can totally reach out. I am more than happy to help anyone get into this space. We do not gatekeep here.
No, we don't. I love that. Thank you so much, Emma. Thanks, guys, for listening to this episode. If, again, you want to connect with Emma, go follow her, go DM her questions if you have them. And I hope this episode was a bit enlightening and helpful. And we will see you in the next episode. Thanks, Emma.
Bye.
Bye. If you want to become a UGC creator and get paid to travel, then my UGC Accelerator is for you. Fast track your UGC career with over 40 video trainings, live weekly Q&A calls, and direct access to me as your UGC coach. You'll get personalized feedback, accountability, and a proven 3-month roadmap to start getting paid UGC deals. Plus, an active community of over 100 other creators also on their UGC journeys. Some students have earned over $2,000 in UGC deals within weeks. And I have students like Lene, who quit her nannying job just 4 months after starting the program because of UGC. Or Katie, who's made over $12,000 in her first few months of pitching. Plus, there's a no-brainer guarantee. If you don't make back your investment in the program, I'll give you a full refund. So if you're ready to take UGC seriously, click the link in the description to learn more.